This week's video, I asked, did they price it right or not? We're going to look at house pricing and what it does in terms of motivation for buyers, whether it gets them excited to come and visit a house or whether it causes a house to sit and linger on the market. So without further ado, as they say, let's get into the overpriced slideshow and take a look. Price has a huge effect on whether a house sells quickly or not. And no matter what, looking at the staging, the condition, or the location of the house, it does almost always come down to the price. This is what happens when you price a house properly. You create a lot of urgency among motivated home buyers. It sparks a lot of showings, maybe even multiple offers. And it attracts the serious buyers, not the low ballers, but also it attracts the buyers that are in the proper price range, because pricing it lower may attract the wrong type of buyer for your house, somebody that can't actually afford what your home is worth. And we definitely don't want to waste time doing that. Speaking of down, let's just break down what we're going to look at in the video about the signals that a price sends, how it shapes the buyer's behavior, and then how you can use what I'm going to show you in the examples when it comes time for you to sell. I'm a real estate agent. I am not a psychologist, but there is some psychology involved when it comes to price. It sends a message to home buyers. If you price it too low, they are suspicious. They think that you are playing the game of holding back on offers in order to get it bid up, and I don't think there's much of an appetite for that. If you price it too high, buyers are not dumb. You are not going to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. They have access to lots of information, and plenty of websites will give them sold data, so they know roughly what a house is worth. And if you're not in line with what they know, they are not going to come and look at your house. And if you price it just right, well, what this does is it creates a lot of urgency. Buyers get excited. They want to come and visit your house, check it out to see if it is perfect for them. So just think that the price positions your home in the market and in the buyer's mind. Let's take a look at the pricing strategy of 6400 Lawrence Avenue, listed at $789,800, sold for $780,000. This took only 5 days to sell, so they did it properly, right? Well, let's just look. Okay, this was a test. So initially they came out at $698,800. So they did the holdback to see if they can get it bid up. Is it the right strategy for a townhouse in our neighborhood? Who knows? Also the timing, February, are people hungry to buy? We don't know. Anyways, that was the strategy they took. It didn't work. So 8 days later, they terminated it, took it off the market. They put it up at a price closer to what they were expecting or what they wanted, or maybe what the market told them it was worth. And sure enough, within 5 days, it sold for $780,000. Let's stick with townhomes, but this time we'll get into a townhome that is a freehold. This does not have any condo fees associated with it. 51 Eastport Drive. And this time the pricing it low and drumming up multiple offers worked. You can see here they listed it at $849,000. They held back for a week, and here you go. We sold for $985,000. Now compare and contrast to the last one we just looked at on Lawrence. This one, like I said, is a freehold, so it does not have condo fees. So that $500 a month makes a huge difference in the affordability of people. And you can see here also this one is 3 bedrooms and 3 washrooms, so that does make a difference. Also, we are looking at an end unit townhome, so this is more comparable to a semi-detached. But regardless, in this situation, maybe that's what we're looking at, is that a freehold townhouse bodes better when you do the price it low and try and drum up multiple offers. Here's an extreme example, I would say. 261 Pendermere Parkway, listed at $1,198,000. After 2 days on the market, just 2 days, boom, shows you that pricing does make a difference. Sold for $1,450,000. Now, did they knowingly price it $250,000 less than what the market thought it was worth? Well, not necessarily, because there is a lot of data to show that a bungalow in our neighborhoods, especially 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, is in and around that price range. I'm pretty sure I did a video last week or the week before showing that bungalows are priced in and around this price range. But for whatever reason, more than one offer came in, I'm guessing, and it sold for $250,000 more. So is this going to be the way? You price it $200,000 less and you're going to drum up crazy amounts of offers? Well, no, we're going to take another look at another house and see the difference. Let's compare and contrast. Pendemere sold for $1,450,000. They were priced in around 1.2, which is what bungalows in the neighborhoods generally sell and list for. But you can see here we're at 49 days on the market, and I guess I should tell you the price. $1,225,000, 3 bedrooms, 3 washrooms, so 1 bedroom and 1 washroom more than the house on Pendemere. Plus, we have an in-ground pool. Now, this is where timing comes into play here. Selling a pool or house with a pool in the wintertime is not the best choice of timing. You're better off to wait until the spring, get the pool opened up, so at least there is some peace of mind for the buyers to know whether the pool is functioning or not, and rather than take a risk. And let's just see what happened here. So they came out on March 12th for $1,050,000, held back for offers, didn't get any, and 10 days later they bumped the price up to 1.25, which I don't think is out of ordinary with what a bungalow in the neighborhoods list for or sell for. But again, it just comes down to timing and also the strategy. And in this instance, the strategy did not work. All right, sticking with a house that's been on the market for quite some time, 50 Chapais Crescent. This one is on a 50 by 110 foot lot, listed at $1,149,000. It's been on the market for 49 days. We have 3 bedrooms plus 2 in the basement and 2 washrooms. Let's take a look and see what has happened here. So they originally came out in July of 2024 at 1.169. On the market for 2 months. It didn't work out, so they canceled it. And then they came out in March. And I'm just going to go through a little bit of theory here. So it says here flexible possession. All right. But then if we go to the, and this is the, you can see here, 1.169, 60 days on the market, terminated. It doesn't show terminated anywhere here, but this is the one that was in terminated. Now, if we look at the recent listing, 49 days and 20 grand less than what we were listed at, you can see here that possession says that they're looking for a June 1st closing date. So maybe, and I'm just putting it out there because I don't know the situation here, that they wanted so if they came out in July, if they were looking for that long of a close, that is going to be a huge issue with buyers, because buyers generally close 45 to 90 days. So if you're asking for, almost a year for a buyer to wait, that's not going to happen. That is just not going to be something that a buyer is interested in doing. So maybe they just looked at it wrong, and that strategy of a long closing didn't work. But also, I just want to show you here that so for 60 days, trying to sell it with this brokerage, which I've never heard of or had the pleasure of working with, canceled it, terminated it, took it off the market, and when they came back out, they went with a new brokerage, with a new agent. So I don't know if there is something said or done, something they didn't like, just a falling out in general. But because things didn't work out the first time with a certain agent, doesn't mean that the second time go around, and even reducing it by 20 grand moves the interest needle as well. So be interesting to see what happens with that one. So as you saw in those examples, that pricing isn't an exact formula, it is a strategy. Some sell for more than the asking price, some sell for less. But always keep in mind that recent sales, as much as they matter, so does the timing. We saw an example of selling a home with a pool in the middle of the winter, not exactly the best timing. Price for the market that you were entering, not the one that just passed. I'm sorry if you missed a hot seller's market and now you're not going to see the same price as your neighbor with the exact same house. The market that you're in now dictates the price that you should be pricing for. When you price it properly, it gets home buyers excited. They want to get in to see your house. They're not going to hesitate if it is the right house for them, and they will put an offer on your home. All serious home buyers have a lot of information at their disposal, and they are on the MLS constantly, and there are other websites as well that let them know what houses have sold for, so they have an idea of what the price range is of your house. You're not going to pull the wool over anybody's eyes. If you price it improperly, you may not even get buyers coming to your house to have a look. Aside from sitting on the market for weeks on end when you overprice, what else happens? Well, you get little to no showings. You're forced to drop the price and you're chasing the market down. Buyers get weary. They may not even want to come and look at your house even after you drop the price. They may think that you're still trying to get the price bid up, and they may not even come to look at your house then. And the worst case scenario is you end up accepting less than you could have had you priced it properly in the beginning. The ultimate goal is obviously to sell your house, but at the same time, you want to make sure you're not leaving any money on the table. But when you price it properly, it doesn't attract the bargain hunters. When a house sits on the market for a long time, that's when you get the bargain hunters, people that are just going to throw a silly offer at it just to see if you're desperate. You want to get a bunch of serious people into your home. It may not be that all of them put an offer on your house, but the more people you get into your home that are serious buyers, the better chances you have of getting an offer. And in order to attract the serious buyers, it starts with setting the right listing price. If you just put a pie in the sky price out there and saying, well, we can always come down, well, you can see what happens is that you start to chase the market down, or buyers get weary and they just think you're pricing it lower now in order to get it bid up. So price it properly the first time and get the right buyers in the first time. Well, there you have it. That is a look at did they price it right. I hope you got some value out of this. Let me know in the comments below. Give me some ideas of what you'd like to see me cover in terms of topics or a certain type of house. But as always, I appreciate your time and thank you for the support. And if you would like me to come by and give you an honest opinion about the value of your home, information is right here. Please reach out. Be happy to talk. No pressure, just the actual numbers. And other than that, I will see you hopefully next week for another look around the neighborhood. So thanks for joining me. Bye.